Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Mosca here again with another beer review for you today. Now I've got another Scottish one this time, and this is from a brewery that I've never actually tried anything from. I've heard very good things about it from my friends, and it's a bit odd that I've never tried anything from it because they are one of the more established Scottish craft breweries. The last couple of videos I've done for you have been sort of the very new breweries, but this one's been around for a little bit longer than that, and you can actually get these things quite widely in the Scottish supermarkets these days. So I don't know why, to be honest, I've never actually got around to trying any of these things, but today I'm going to review for you the Cairngorm Brewery Company's White Lady, which is a Bavarian style wheat beer, one of my favourite styles of beer actually, so it's going to be interesting to see what the sort of Scottish craft ale take on this one is. But as is usual with my beer reviews, I'll just take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery. This brewery actually has quite an interesting and unique character to it, so hopefully you'll want to stick around with me for that. But if you are simply just interested in the tasting of this beer, then feel free to fast forward towards the last part of the video and you will catch that segment. But anyway, the Cairngorm Brewery Company was established in 2001 and it's located in the village of Aviemore in the Cairngorms National Park in the west of Scotland. Now for those of you watching outside of Scotland, so you know exactly where we're talking about here, I always describe Scotland as looking a bit like a monster's head, and on the northern coastline where the monster starts to get a little bit of a mohawk thing going on, if you like, there's a big corner in the coastline like this, and Inverness is right in this corner here, and Aviemore is located just about 30 miles to the southeast of Inverness, and it's on the same sort of latitude as Aberdeen, the oil capital of Europe, over on the east coast there, but you have to go on a big sort of arching road to actually get to Aberdeen. You can't just cut straight across, which is a bit annoying. But anyway, this village is actually quite famous for being Scotland's ski resort. A lot of people go up there to ski in the winter, and a lot of people go up there just to go hiking around the hills and stuff. It's a very beautiful part of the country, but I've actually never been to Aviemore. I'll need to go along with my friends one time. As I say, I hear it's very beautiful. But this brewery is actually one of the more decorated Scottish craft breweries. They've won a hell of a lot of awards and things like that. They've got a page on their website where you can actually go and see everything they've won. There's a massive list of this stuff. But they say they like to keep traditional recipes alive. It reminds me a little bit of Williams Brothers Brewery just down near where I'm from. But they like to experiment as well with new recipes, with different malts, different hops, and some other interesting additions to their beer. One of their beers actually has elderflower in it, which is quite interesting. But their brew house currently has a 20 barrel capacity. It can produce 6,500 litres of ale per day, and most of their beers, both seasonal and year round, are available in half-litre bottles like this one here. You can go for tours of the brewery which happen at 2:30 p.m. every Monday to Friday, and the brewery shop is open Monday to Saturday every week, and it's also open on Sundays from April to October as well. But the brewery, with the brewery being located in a national park, and I believe they're actually the only Scottish craft brewery that are located within the national parks, they're actually quite keen on supporting conservation charities such as those for the Red Squirrel and the Wildcats, as well as some of the local disabilities charities and sports charities. A number of their beers actually have a portion of the proceeds from the sale donated to these charities, which is quite cool. As I say, they have this sort of unique character to them, and it's really interesting, and it's really cool to see a brewery doing that. But they also have a section of the website that tells you about all the local hotels and bars where you can go and drink their beers. So I'll put the brewery website in the description for you. You can take a look at that if you're interested. It tells you all about their contributions to charities and things like that, all the organisations they support, and a lot of the pubs and things where you can go and actually drink their beer. So it's really cool that they do that. They're quite sort of keen on integrating into the local community, if you like. It's a really cool business character they have. But the brewery, when I was researching this brewery for you for this video, I was actually surprised at just how many beers they produce. In their regular range, they have Cayley, which is a golden ale, Ginger Rodent, which is a continental golden brew. Apparently this beer was brewed as a celebration of people with ginger hair. As many of you will know, there's quite a few of those in Scotland. There was Trade Winds, which, as I mentioned earlier, this is the one with the elderflower in it. This is a golden ale with wheat and elderflower in it. There's the Wildcat. This is the one that they donate some of the profits to support the Scottish Wildcats in the Highland. This is a bitter beer. They've got Black Gold, which is a stout. They have Stag, which is a dark bitter. Cairngorm Gold, which is a lager. Nessie's Monster Mash. Obviously it has a Loch Ness Monster on the bottle there, and this one is a malty amber ale. They have Blessed Thistle, which is a red ale filtered through thistles. I'd quite like to try that one, I have to admit. Sheepshagger's Gold, which is a continental golden ale. If you don't know, in Scotland there's a sort of term that's a bit of a mocking, if you like, of the country folk, that you call them sheepshaggers because there's a lot of sheep around there. It was a more older thing. Sometimes it was something that was quite funny with Aberdeen Football Club. Everyone used to refer to Aberdeen Football Club as being the sheepshaggers and stuff like that, but it's just a sort of a bit of a laugh, if you like, between the city folk and the country country folk. But they also have the Autumn Nuts, which is a red ale, and this one is the one that they use to support the red squirrel conservation. Some idiot from America brought over the grey squirrels from America, and they basically wiped out a lot of the red squirrel population that were native to Scotland, so there's a hell of a lot of conservation work actually going on in preserving them. They've actually, I read recently that they'd wiped the grey squirrels completely from the island of Anglesey in Wales, so there's a lot of good work going on there to get rid of these grey squirrels. But the brewery also have their seasonal range here, which has they have the Winter Flurry, which is a bitter, Santa Sledgehammer, which is a Christmas ale, Howler, which is a strong ale, Mountain Blue, which is a golden ale, Witch's Cauldron, which is a red ale, and also the Highland IPA. So as you can see, they've got a whole range of different beers for you to try. I'm quite looking forward to trying some of these. When I was researching them, some of them sound really good, and I'd quite like to have a little go at these, so you can expect more reviews from this brewery from me in the future. But to get on to this type of beer itself, this is a 4.7% wheat beer, Weiss beer, Hefeweizen, however you want to describe it. It's a Bavarian style wheat beer, and it has roasted malts, and it's brewed with orange peel and coriander for a bit of spice character. It actually won the champion Bavarian wheat beer at the 2004 Scottish International Brewing Awards, and it's also just last year it won the Scottish Regional Award at the Sainsbury's British Beer Hunt in 2012. So just to tell you a little bit about the bottle and cap on this one, actually I'll let you have a little look at it. The bird that is on this label here is a female ptarmigan, and this is a grouse that's native to the Highlands of Scotland, and apparently these birds can change colour for the seasons. This one is obviously in winter, because as you can see it's completely white and it has a little bit of a black tail, but in the summer they actually are brown and yellow, so they can match the lichen covered rocks and things like that. But White Lady is actually also the name of one of the ski runs in the Cairngorm Mountains, quite a famous ski run actually. But I'll just bring the camera up and make sure you're seeing that there. As you can see, there's the ptarmigan bird on it there. You can see the sort of Cairngorm Brewing Company symbol there. Maybe you can actually see the black one a little bit better there. I'll just let you have a little look at the bottle cap as well. It's just the same as the thing that's on the label here. And as you can see, it actually has a 50 years mark for the Scottish skiing Cairngorms National Park, the 50-year anniversary of that there. But this is quite a nice label that's on these beers actually. They've got some nice pictures and things like that, and you can also see on the back there the Scottish national flag, the oldest national flag in existence for those of you wondering. It's quite cool that we actually have that. But let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting. As I say, I'm quite interested in my my first taste of from this brewery. So let's get this guy out and get on with that. Quite a bit of steam coming off the beer there, but let's get this guy into the glass and get it tasted. As I say, really interested to discover what a Scottish craft ale take on the Bavarian style wheat beer is. Just swirl up the last little bit, get a bit of a head on this one for you. Just make sure this isn't going to overflow a little bit. There's still a little bit in there, but we can pour that in later on. As you can see, it's actually a bit darker than I was expecting it to be. If I hold this up to the light, it's actually quite clear. It's a crystal white beer, which is what you'd expect. Crystal white beers are usually filtered, so you'd expect it to be clear. It's a nice sort of it's not quite a coppery golden colour. It's a kind of rich amber colour, if you like. I would describe that one. Sort of maybe amber orange actually. It's quite an interesting colour, this one, but as you can see, it's got about a finger and a half, I would say, of head on it, and it's quite a fluffy head actually. It's quite bumpy. It's got some bigger bubbles in there as well. In terms of the aroma on this one, it's quite wheaty, as you would expect. There's quite a bit of citrus in there, but I'm picking out the spice character from the coriander as well, and there's some sort of bready and yeasty elements to it as well. But I would say it's actually got quite a bit of floral character to it. Quite an interesting nose on this one, I have to say. We'll just get the last little bit of this out. There we are. But yeah, quite a bit of citrus with the wheat mixed in there. You can pick up just that little bit of spice character from the coriander, and it does have that sort of bready and yeasty element to it. And as I say, it's got a little bit of floral character too. But let's give this guy a taste. It's quite citrusy actually when you take it in. But it tastes quite different from the Bavarian Weiss beers that I've had before. But yeah, when you take it in, it has quite a bit of a citrusy note to it. It's quite bready and doughy with the malts in the background, but you have the citrusy elements there. It's actually a slight little bit of roast character to those kind of bready and doughy malts in the background. And the coriander spice is actually just mixed in with there. The kind of floral character I was picking up, I would say, is present quite throughout it. You're starting with that little citrus coming in, then it bears down to a sort of bready, malty character that has the coriander spice mixed in, but the floral character is sort of present throughout that. It finishes a little bit bitter, actually. Yeah, it finishes slightly bitter, and you're getting the sort of wheat and spice in the finish of it. I might actually want to say that there's a bit of herbal character to this one. As I say, you're getting the wheat and spice in the finish of this one. It tastes quite a bit different to the Bavarian style wheat beers that I've had before. It doesn't quite have the same mouthfeel of that. This one's quite light to mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite soft. When you take it in, it's quite sort of nice and smooth on the tongue. It doesn't sort of come in sharp and then fade out to be smooth. It's smooth all the way throughout, which is quite interesting. It's a slightly dry beer, this, actually, and it does have a bit of bitterness to it, but it's quite a drinkable one. It's quite that's what I find quite different about this one. The Scottish kind of take on this is making it quite drinkable, whereas I find that the Bavarian Weiss beers are ones you want to sip a little bit more. I tend to drink these sort of the Bavarian Weiss beers quite a bit more slowly than this, whereas this one is actually really drinkable. Maybe that's just the sort of difference in the style of brewing, but it does have quite a bit of a different feel to it from a Bavarian white beer, in my opinion. But it's a really, really nice beer, actually. I do quite like this one. It is quite interesting that it has that nice sort of citrusy character with the coriander spice in it. It's a really interesting beer, but I would say if you get the chance, give this one a try. As I say, it's a really nice beer. You have the sort of citrusy coming into it, the nice sort of bready and the bready and yeasty notes in there, kind of with the doughy element and the coriander spice. Really nice in that sense. And you have just a little bit of herbal character from the hops on it. Really, really nice beer. I highly recommend you give this one a try, but I hope this beer review has been informative. I've enjoyed my first beer from the Cairngorm Brewery Company. As I say, it's quite interesting because the Scottish take on this makes it quite a bit more drinkable than normal Bavarian Weiss beers are. Maybe, but that's... Remember that beer is always subjective. You might like different things from me and stuff like that. I tend to drink the actual Bavarian Weiss beers quite a bit more slowly. You might find them quite a bit more drinkable than I do, but I love the Bavarian Weiss beers. This one is quite a bit more of a drinkable variant of it, I would say. But as I say, I hope this beer review has been informative for you and that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. But I hope it's been informative. Thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube jazz. I'll be back tomorrow with an American craft beer for you. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.